in economic integration. We've been asked to describe our degrees here very quickly, just 2 minutes. So I'm going to speak really quickly, but if you have questions, you can come see us in the rooms right after. Master's degree in GIFTE. GIFTE presents theoretically rigorous investigations into global economic issues and particularly into global economic policy. The degree ranges from the big questions, like what's happening in the global economy these days, and what does that imply for all kinds of economic actors, from national governments to corporations to NGOs and the like. Now, in the remaining 60 seconds, I want to tell you that this is not your grandfather's economic degree, and this is important. Economics has become very technical and very mathematized in most places. So economists don't read non-economists, they focus on their mathematics. Economics has essentially become applied mathematics, learning lots of models that really don't help you much understand the world. We are not that program, and I emphasize this because students often will move into GIFTE once they come to realize that in fact it is a thoroughly interdisciplinary degree. It emphasizes qualitative skills as much as quantitative skills. More than half of our courses are taught by non-economists, and we take the view here that you cannot begin to understand the really important economic issues in the world today unless you come at it from many different theoretical disciplines. So we are not what you remember from Econ 101 in your undergraduate training or what you see at the PhD level in mathematics. We are intending to prepare our students, and I think we do, prepare our students very well to have economic literacy and to engage in economic or political economy issues broadly defined in all the areas where they go off to work, be it in development, human rights, security, or indeed in the area of economics. So broadly interdisciplinary, not just technical, indeed heavy emphasis on communications, writing, and qualitative skills as well, because we think that's what the world needs when it comes to good economic analysis. I'd be happy to talk to you all about that later on.
Good morning. My name is Louis Griffith. I've been on the faculty here for 3 years now. Interestingly enough, prospectively, I'm also a graduate of this fine program, pre-last century. But similar take, and you're going to hear this as a theme, I suspect. When we say international security at Korbel, we have a very broad definition of that. In large part because anything you encounter today may not be an issue when it matters to you from 20 years from now. So while certainly we're going to cover current events and issues, and there's going to be courses in terrorism, and there's going to be courses in U.S. national security policy, in fact, you're probably going to take that from me, or Dr. Viotti, we're also going to make sure if you're interested in human security, you get plenty of opportunity to do that. If you're interested in the engagement between development and security, you're going to get plenty of opportunities to do that. We take advantage of the fact that we have phenomenal cross-disciplinary programs across the whole school to let you get a core of the necessary security knowledge. So you don't go out and say, I'm a security expert, and they go, what's a national security strategy? And you go, So we make sure that doesn't happen. At the same time, we let you find out how you want to best position yourself for the job market. Because as you all know, right now we have sequester. If you were planning on working for DoD, that's not going to happen in the next 6 months. So what is security to you? And we try to find a way to do that. Regarding me, let me make one comment. I'm not the degree director. I'm standing in for Dr. Rachel Epstein. Obviously, I'm not Rachel Epstein. But I think what might be interesting to you as we talk about in the breakout session is, as the dean mentioned, I'm the faculty advisor for the Organization of Security Students. I'm the faculty advisor to the CENEX exercise, which, by the way, the dean has all put you in harm's way. The dean just told you the scenario. There are 75 people playing next Saturday, and they don't know what you know. And some of them are getting very aggressive about finding out what the scenario is, and I don't want to put you in harm's way. So if they approach you, you might want to keep that one to yourself. Just trust me on this. So I'm in charge of organizing security students. I'm in charge of the CENEX exercise. I also teach all the security skills classes that you will be required to take. So we can talk more about that issue about balancing skills, the knowledge, as we go forward. Look forward to meeting all of you as the next couple days.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Tom Rowe. I direct the Masters in International Administration. That's a very practical degree that helps you acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to assume a leadership position in a nonprofit, an international nonprofit, or an internationally oriented government position. The degree seeks to do several things. One, to give you the basics of international studies, an international degree. So basic core courses there. It secondly attempts to give you the knowledge and skills necessary for management, for budget issues, for fundraising, and similar kinds of fairly technical and straightforward issues in administration of nonprofits. It gives you a series of courses in public policy, in international organization, and it expects you to develop a specialization that's basically outside the international administration degree, a specialization in development or a specialization in human rights or whatever particular kind of special policy issues tend to interest you. And then it expects you to develop additional methodological skills that will be appropriate for a career in international nonprofits or in government agencies. So it's a very practical degree. It's often, it's a smaller degree program because folks who come think they're especially interested in human rights or development or specific policy issues, and that of course makes sense. But all of you will have to essentially acquire many of the skills of the international administration degree. If you go into an international nonprofit, you're going to, even if it's a human rights nonprofit, unless it's a very large organization, you're going to be involved in administration, management, and fundraising, and budgetary issues. You need to have those kinds of skills. So the degree is intended to give you those skills, but also allow you to develop the policy specialization that is of particular interest to you.
Thanks. Welcome to Corbell. I'm Sally Hamilton, Director of the International Development degree. I want to agree with everything my esteemed colleagues have said so far, because development, too, is an extremely broad field. There are so many specializations within it that the degree program here is designed specifically to be flexible, to allow each of you to pursue your own interests. And to that end, we have actually a rather concentrated core. We have an array of skill sets. We recommend to you the skills that employers tell us are the most important and will prepare you for a lifetime of work. They're not simply trendy. Some of the skills Tom has already mentioned. I'll add to that those that development employers tell us are most important. Communications, first and foremost. Everyone does communications no matter what your job title is. Cross-cultural negotiation skills. And the aforementioned stats, which everybody in development has to take. And if you're a math phobe, don't worry about it. So was I. I learned to do stats. That means anybody can do it. It's a skill. It is a skill, but it's also a tool that helps you to work towards the ultimate goals of development. And I just want to mention that here at Corbell, although we're not all alike, there are some core values that are shared across the development program and more broadly at the school. And these are that economic growth is critically important for international development, but it is not the end of it. Economic growth should be a means towards the economic and social emancipation of the poorest people, the most vulnerable people in the world today. So if you are animated by a desire to work towards the elimination of poverty, expanding social opportunities, expanding cultural understanding across cultures in this endeavor, then Corbell is probably a great place for you to pursue international development, and I look forward to meeting you shortly.
Good morning. My name is Frank Laird. I'm the director of the Master of Arts International Studies. Welcome. The Master of Arts International Studies we sometimes call the traditional degree. Some folks think that's kind of a bad name to give something, but I kind of like it personally. There's something advantage to being an anachronism. And one of the features of the Master of Arts International Studies is that it's quite a flexible degree. You've heard that from my colleagues. I think it's true across the curriculum. But this is especially a degree for people who often like to blend together different fields, different concentrations, different kinds of policy issues, but do a fair bit of in-depth study on multiple fronts. I'll be talking a lot about this in the breakout session, so I won't keep us any longer here, but I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce briefly my colleague Claude Destray, who's joined us, who will speak about human rights.
Sorry for being late. Thank you, Brad, for reaching out and finding me. My name is Claude Destray. I am the director of the Human Rights Degree Program. I'm also the director of the Center on Rights Development and the Human Trafficking Clinic. The Center on Rights Development is one of the oldest centers at Corbell. It is a professional academic center. What makes it unique, it's all run by you guys, by graduate students. And it focuses on our sort of founding document is the ICESCR of the United Nations. And so we pick a theme from that each year. So this year is the right to education. Last year was the right to water and water rights. And so we have a big symposium next week on right to education. Next year we might pick out, we've been already discussing it, is the right to health, for instance. So then we would reach out, for instance, to our colleagues, both we talked about already in the Middle East Center and in the Global Health Certificate, Professor Brandon Kuhn. The Human Trafficking Clinic is the only 2-year graduate level training program of its kind in the United States. In fact, according to our competitor, Johns Hopkins University, it's SICE, when they did their survey of 100 best practices of human trafficking in the world, we're the only one around, as it turns out, which is both pleasing and discouraging in terms of the work we need to do in human trafficking. You will discover, if you are interested in human rights, that takes either you're in one of the other degree programs and taking some courses in that field, or you are doing your master's degree in human rights, that in fact most of you will be doing human rights and something in the sense in your minds, either thematically or regionally. So you will be working closely with the other degree programs. Let me just say this to all of you. Getting a degree in human rights is not like getting a degree in a master's degree in English, and you go, and then what do I do with it? There are plenty of very good, viable jobs out there. We place people all the time, nonstop in the United States and in Europe, and we'll talk maybe more about it later. We are working very closely with a lot of IOs and NGOs in Geneva, for instance, and we're talking about, well, they've known a little bit about the Washington program. So the Geneva program that we're trying to develop is very much like the Washington program that we already have. So I'll see a number of you in the breakout session and talk more about those of you specifically in the human rights degree program.